C4 base. After they interrogated the driver, they found out he was supposed to park next to the chow hall. They went to the chow hall. There were already two semi-trucks full of shrapnel. If it would have blown up, it would have killed over 1,000 soldiers that one day. Not including things like that, 3 to 5 soldiers a day. Those are special circumstances. Not including that, in 2012, 27,000 soldiers came home because of that. So that could tell you how important the dogs are to the military working dog programs, and that's just Iraq. When the military is done with their dogs, they put them through a series of temperament testing. If they pass the test and they get adopted out through Lackland Air Force Base, anybody here can get a dog. All you gotta do is apply. It could be up to an 18-month waiting period, but they are available for adoption. If they fail the temperament testing, they get scheduled to be euthanized due to liability. If they adopted out a dog that they know has aggression issues or liability issues, in this day and age, the first thing somebody would do is sue. And the first thing that would happen in the military is they'd lose that program. 27,000 soldiers a year just in Iraq would not come home because they adopted out a dog they knew was unsuitable for adoption. They just don't do it. What we do is we take the dogs that cannot be adopted out, and then we hire disabled vets to take care of them. The veterans payment is rent-free housing. They live on our property rent-free in exchange for taking care of our dogs. The veterans can leave the program at any time. The dogs stay in the property forever. We have a couple of rules and regulations. We do random drug testing on our vets. We do have drug dogs coming across the property. Can't have it there. We require you to either work 40 hours a week or go to school and above the average. We're not a government organization, so we can do higher standards. In 8 years, we've hired 3 veterans, 2 for drugs and 1 for stealing. A very high success rate. All of our vets do phenomenal in life. They just need that little push in the ass, stepping stone to get going. In 8 years, we've never failed on rehabilitating dogs. Now, unfortunately, rehabilitating just means providing them a comfortable retirement to where we can bring them out in public, to where they have to be muzzled to the vet. You know, the muzzle is the first step. And when they're retired, we're able to do this one. So we've never failed in rehabilitating dogs. We've had some dogs in special circumstances where they can't be around animals or they can't be around children. We learned that during the first 3 weeks. Been hospitalized 9 times, part of the job. But we've never failed on a dog. We're very good at what we do. We just keep those rules in place. We don't bend them or break them in any way. So, that being said, we are a 100% volunteer organization. Nobody pulls a dime. I get a company cell phone. It's a privilege. We work 120 hours a week. And I get a company card. Trust me, it's never a nice card. Other than that, the free housing is the only thing that we get for compensation. We have 11 properties that house 13 canines right now. You say that's not a huge thing, but it is because we own cash out 11 properties that house 13 vets. They will forever house 13 vets. Come next year, we're not going to lose those numbers. It's an investment. We chose to invest our money wisely versus renting and leasing and things like that. Now, on top of that, we own another property that we're currently building that is 20,000 square feet. By the time it's open, which we're hoping come spring it'll be open, that'll house another 21 vets and 25 canines forever. We've already been pre-approved to put an addition on, 20,000 square feet addition, double those numbers. On paper, we're a multi-million-dollar organization, and we're a lot bigger than we really are, but it's because we're smart about it. We own vehicles, we own backup vehicles. They're all 97 or older. We've all got 150,000 plus miles on them. Some of them even have over 2 million miles. We maintain them well as we can. We have backup vehicles. I was taking the dog back from an event for the Marine Corps birthday on Rockery. I hit a deer. It happens. It was unfortunate. It was one of our better vehicles. The vehicle is going to be fixed this winter, but I was able to hop in another vehicle the next day. No problem. So like I said, we spend our money wisely. That being said, our annual operating budget, if we don't expand and pass the Indiana property once it's up and running, is $21,000 a year. We're all volunteers, but we need money for. Our food is taken care of by our sponsors. Our medical is done at cost. The last blood work we got done on one of our shepherds cost us $4. Right now we spend $60,000 in fuel to raise $120,000 so we can expand because we have to. We drive to every event every weekend, the whole 9 yards. But our operating budget is very low because it doesn't have to be high. We're not that type of organization. That's pretty much the nuts and bolts of what we do. Who has questions? You just yell them out.
Where are you located? Where do you have these houses?
Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Virginia, Wyoming. We're working in Oregon, and we just closed in Texas. We have 15 acres up in Wisconsin as well. The 15 acres is undeveloped. We own it, but we haven't developed it yet. Cost a pretty penny to start from the ground up. It was donated vacant. The town is literally bankrupt. The cops are now all volunteer. We're fundraiser donation driven, so that project's going to have to wait until we get some federal funding in. But meanwhile, we have our Indiana property. We're waiting to take a property that the city of Thornton wants to donate us, because we want to get Indiana done first before we jump into Thornton. Just keep expanding.
When the dogs are trained to do whatever they do in the military, is it hard for them to not do that when they retire?
So, I gave you the definition for military. Law enforcement doesn't have anything set in stone. They pretty much follow the same guidelines. They're just not regulated by federal. So when we get a police dog in, yeah, it's a nightmare. Trying to change them from working after 8 years to retiring with a completely different person than they worked with their entire life. It's kind of hard. But we're able to do it. He's a Massachusetts State Police dog. Military is quite easy. So Nero's a dog I took care of. He was trained for Baghdad, Iraq, where he spent 6 years of his life. He was trained for a year, spent 6 years there, came back stateside. He was a Navy EOD dog. Navy EOD handlers typically deployed for 6 months. He had 12 handlers the entire time he was there, 4 kennel masters. That's just in Baghdad. Who knows what he had before? Who knows what he had after? We didn't get him until he was 8 years old. So I was just another handler. The difference is I was the handler that gave him steak, bacon, and chicken on a regular basis. I was the handler that didn't make him sleep in a kennel, that gave him a couch and a bed, that had a fenced-in yard that let him come and go as he wanted. His toy for finding explosives was a tennis ball. He at all times had a minimum of 100 tennis balls. He was quite easy to get him retirement. I'd say after about a week, he didn't give a shit about anything other than, where's my ball and when do I get to eat? So military is actually a lot easier to decommission than police are. Police have been with the same person for the past 8, 9, 10 years. They're stuck in one way. It's harder, but it's not impossible. We got a phone call yesterday from a North Carolina cop, and his dog is retiring, a little bit more aggressive. The department will let him keep him, but he can't keep him. He's aggressive, but he wants him. He said, what can I do? He said, send me a plane ticket, put me up for 3 weeks, I'll come out, then I'll break your dog. I go, I can break any dog training in 3 weeks, no problem. I've done it less time. We're good at untraining dogs.
Does the police officer pay for that, or does your...
We don't. We only take dogs from agencies. The minute he adopts that dog, that means that dog is adoptable. If he was unadoptable, we take him. If he's adoptable, we take him. It's one less spot we have. Now, if he wants to keep that dog, then we'll go, and he wants to send me a plane ticket, I'll take 3 weeks off of work myself and go out there and help him keep his dog. I know I can break a dog. These dogs are easy to break, they just take a little bit of time. And they're much easier when the handler wants to work.
Have you ever had to call him like Cesar Millan?
No. He's kind of a dick. He came to us and he approached us and we turned him down. We know people that have worked with him, and he's got phenomenal trainers that work. He's a movie star, TV star. He's not a Detroit dog trainer. He has trainers that work for him. So, Von Lick Kennels.
He looks good on camera.
Exactly. He knows how to work the camera. Von Lick Kennels, International Scent Solutions, Connecticut Canine. There's TOPS. There's 7 different major training facilities throughout the country that sell to military and federal agencies and law enforcement. We're friends with all of them. We go to those guys on a regular basis. I guarantee the last thing Kenny from Von Lick Kennels said to himself when I walked out of the room, why the hell did I tell him where I live? Because if he doesn't answer our phone, we'll show up at his house. Can you help with this? We have the best of the best trainers that help us. And you've probably never heard of that.
We need to introduce you to both of your staff members who has strong opinions about Cesar Millan.
Good or bad?
Bad.
Good. Does anybody here love Cesar Millan? The marketing director for Cesar Millan told us not to work with him. She said it would hurt us more than it helps us. There you go. She said he is a phenomenal actor, but that's all he is. He has people that work for him. The people that work for him, ironically enough, are friends of ours. So, is this being recorded? What's that?
That's
Does look like a camera.
Thank
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Freedom of speech.
I fought for it, he fought for it, he
So,
deserved it.
so I fought for it too.
Oh, I didn't know if you were military.
11 years.
Shut it off or what?
You want that off?
No, it's okay. No, it's one of the things, we have phenomenal sponsors. You guys have been great support the one day we've been here. Hustler Magazine donates to us every year. We've had the gay parade offer to have a float inside their parade. But we want to do everything, we always do. We have a very large support of the gay community. I grew up in the Channel Lakes, so there's a big collection of those people up there, and I've known them since I was a kid. And they told us not to do it. They said, we're not a big enough charity. It would hurt us before it helps us. The people from Hustler said, you can tell people that we donate to you, but if you do, you're going to lose half of your female supporters. People don't do it. Just take our support where it comes and wait to hit a big organization. If people want to help you, they'll help you. You're just not big enough to do it. We turned down Caesar because we were recommended by his own staff not to. But we would never say that in public. I mean, it would kill us. He's a multi-million-dollar TV show. Exactly. It's a multi-million-dollar TV show, and he's very good at entertaining. He's a hell of an entertainer, better than I can do. But it's not where we're at. We're not that big. We're not that big that we can voice our opinion. We love the military.
So are you guys just like a bunch of like, well,
It seems like it
say
doesn't.
like a bunch of single veterans that are just there like
No.
sort of a boys club? What's
No,
the
not at all. When we first started, it was me and two other people that started. We started it as a corporation. I should probably tell you how we got started. So when I was in Iraq, I had a dog save my life twice. And he was put down about 2 weeks before we left to come home because he was deemed insuitable for adoption because he killed a couple of Iraqis 3 years prior, which is what he was trained to do. He was trained to kill in command. So tried to save him, I quit him. Came back a year after I got back. Some friends of mine called me up from Afghanistan and said, hey, you ever find a way to save the dogs and trying to euthanize our dogs because they're trained to kill? I said, well, give me a month, I'll figure something out. So I got shit-faced, went down the IRS building. I did 11 years, I was drinking every day. I go down the IRS building, I said, hey, I want to start a 501c3. And the guy laughs and he looks at me, and he doesn't want to talk to me, you can tell I'm drunk. But they had to let me in because I filled my ID. He goes, what do you want to do? I go, I want to save military dogs. And he goes, why? I go, I want to save my life and I want to return the favor. The guy closes the window, walks around, invites me in, gives me a cup of coffee. He was a Marine Corps MP. Sits down with me and says, well, here, let's figure out what you want to do. We put it on paper. A week and a half later, we were 501c3. It took us 2 years to get our first dog. And the minute we got our first dog, stopped drinking for 9 months. Had no time. We've had generals, 2-star, 3-star generals stop in to volunteer when they're in town. They can to help us set up the program, set up how it operates, put the certain protocols where we only hire military, law enforcement, and first responder veterans that have been in your line of duty. We were all set forward by 3-star generals that knew how to work the system to get us moving. We're a lot more organized than we appear. We invite female, we invite couples, we've invited gay couples, we've invited married couples to come out and join the program. But most of the people that need our help are single male vets. There's a lot of programs up there for veterans. There's a lot of programs up there for female veterans. But unfortunately, there's not programs for the vets that fall through the cracks. So most of the people we get are single male veterans. We don't get that many first responders. Most first responders have phenomenal unions, but we are open to it. If you have a female veteran that can benefit from the program, I will give you an application right now. We are hiring right now. I don't care who they are. If they pass the background check and they pass the veterans, the VAC background check, they're hired. That's it.
Do they have to be war vets? There's issues right now, I'm sure you've heard of it, about a lot of female veterans who were raped in the line of duty.
They have to be service connected. They can't have committed a felony or been committed to a mental hospital and come back.
It's half of the PTSD veterans.
I've been deployed 7 times. There's a difference between going in for PTSD help and being committed to mental facility. The difference is, when the dogs are put up for adoption, they're deemed as soldiers being adopted out. If they fail the adoption, if they fail the temperament testing, they get classified as hazardous equipment. Anybody who's military knows what they do with hazardous equipment. So the way that we get the dogs, Chris here is a Marine Corps vet. He has a secret security clearance. It's probably a TS, but it's still a secret. It hasn't committed a felony, hasn't been to jail, so he still has a federal security clearance. He receives rent-free housing from us, so he's a paid employee of the Save Ed organization. He's not getting paid money. So I just hired somebody with a federal security clearance to live on my secure property in East Dundee, Illinois, to take care of my hazardous equipment. That's how we get those dogs. That's the only way we get the dogs. Somebody who committed a felony, been committed to a mental facility, domestic, they lost their security clearance. They can't get a gun, can't work for us. Not our rules. The rules I would set forward to make sure we can operate. So we have veterans that volunteer with us that can never work with us. We have we're one of the cool organizations because we're all military and law enforcement. The cops love us. Send me anybody for community service. I don't care what they did. I've got MPs, I got the Secret Service that have been shot in line of duty. They will tell them what to do. They'll dig fence holes all day long. Cops love us, so we'll take anybody for community service. I'd say about 90% of the people that come to us for community service that are veterans will become volunteers. They fall in love with what we do. Yes?
You said first responders,
Yes.
including EMS workers.
Did you work for the city or state?
Not yet, I just got my license,
Okay.
but I was just wondering if that was.
If you get injured in line of duty, you give us a call. Hopefully I'll never hear from you. Military, law enforcement, and first responder in the line of duty, we would take a search and rescue from a place like Nevada because they're state employees versus an Illinois search and rescue because that's a non-profit volunteer organization. You won't take a Metro cop. Metro cops work for the Metro, which is a private run company, but we wouldn't take a UP cop because they're private. Metro's city run. We would take a Metro cop.
How would that work with like firefighters then?
You have to, military, law
Same.
enforcement, or first responder, they fall under
Yeah.
first responder.
Okay.
You have to work for the government, get screwed by the government to come work for us. That's how it works.
How long did you say you've been doing this for?
8 years. I know. I used to shave for all this. Who else? Who's got questions?
What's the one dog that you remember most?
Nero. Nero saved 3,000 soldiers in one day. Bomb detection. A building blew up, landed on his back. He had 2 discs fused together, nerve damage in his feet. When he got diagnosed with cancer, we took out 5 teeth and part of his jaw. We were told it was going to come back. They said they don't know when it comes back, but when it does, revisit it. Came back about 2 months later. We took out more teeth and more jaw. About a month later, it started to come back again. The vet said put him down. It's a humane thing to do. You know, if we'd have to remove his entire jaw. He's 13 years old. He'd never lived a longer life. I said, well, how long do we have it? Because he had about a week. So we put it out on our Facebook that Nero's going to be put down, and this is why, all the records. We got a little hate mail, but again, it's quality of life. We had former people that Nero saved their life take their emergency leave from Afghanistan and Iraq to come to the good look at us. He was a Navy EOD dog. The Navy actually came out and did a full honor ceremony. And it was amazing because the guys that came out and did it said we've never done this day up, you know.
Right.
And we were instructed by our command and showed up in uniform in Humvees. It was pretty cool. And he was the dog I took care of.
EOD is explosives and ordnance disposal.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't EOD. It's disposal or division. I don't really know.
Bomb dog.
Bomb dog. Anybody here EOD? Shucks. Who else has questions? We're not that good. Ask away. You gotta have questions. You're the one who brought us here.
Oh. I honestly don't. I found your website fascinating when we first looked at you guys. And it was this weird mix of the focus of your website. I noticed is very right-leaning, but as we looked into it, we realized, well, it seems like it makes sense from where you guys are standing that you kind of want to appeal the fact that you have Fox News on your website a couple times listed prominently. It's like, well, I think the people that are watching Fox News are going to find it clueless, and people who look at your website are definitely going to, find that appealing as well. But then we dug and we found WGN and we found a lot of other things. So.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I don't really have any questions. I was just excited that you guys were ultimately open to coming to check out something like this, which is...
Why wouldn't
it's,
you?
It's a territory, and you would be surprised how many charities are like, well, this sounds odd.
You gotta look at it like this. Everybody here loves animals.
Yes.
We've got to try to find people that either love animals or love vets. And with all the controversy, I mean, you guys, I imagine you don't like vets, you're not going to say it here, but you'd be amazed how many people and groups we found that aren't supportive of our military. Whether it's the higher ups or the government, and they just associate us together. But to be able to find groups that love animals or love vets or both is very hard. Oh, guaranteed you guys all love animals.
I've never had anyone get on top of me for being former military
You'd be
in the
amazed.
community.
We've had veterans be spit out of the airport.
Well, I mean, in this community
No, I know.
here is
I haven't
right.
seen anything negative here at all. It's like I said, you guys all love animals, so right there, one of our clientels. And if you love vets, perfect. We got both.
One of the things we miss out on by being big enough to take over a whole hotel now is the interactions you would get with other groups there at the same time. The opportunity to ruin somebody's wedding by having all these animal people going through their special day. But,
Ruin or improve?
Improve, yes, better. But our first couple of years, we shared a weekend with an Army officer's leadership. And there was some really interesting interactions and all positive.
That's awesome. Well, they're officers, so there's that.
Yeah. seeing somebody with, stripes and I have no idea what the insignia are, and putting on a pair of ears and tail and coming into the dance was certainly.
Oh, that's cool.
Go, baby. That's pretty impressive.
So you guys don't have any more questions for me? Nobody has any questions?
Other than
Yes.
As a dog owner, I know that I'm a terrible dog trainer. But you're obviously extremely skilled. So I'm curious, just how did you develop those skills?
I'm not a trainer. All of our dogs come to us well trained.
Or how do you?
I know how to
Break the
break a
skills
dog
or-
in training because I was a kid and I grew up with dogs, and I remember my parents saying, "Don't do that." My 11 years in the military, what the hell are you doing? You can't play with him. He's not a pet, or you can't feed him that, or this or that. I remember everything that said I can't do, and that's what we do now. As for training, we do work with some of the best trainers in the world. Where are you from?
Where from?
Yeah.
Chicago.
I can give you if you want. I mean, they say you get what you pay for. In dog training, it's pretty much the same. I can give you some phenomenal trainers out in Indiana, down in Florida, Connecticut. That if you want to pay someone to train your dog, I'll hook you up with them. I'll tell
My
you
dog's a
that.
sweetheart. My dad does not like it.
If if you want some local people that will come to your house and show you and teach you as they're doing it, I've got those. If you got places where you want to go, it's a class and you're in there with 20 other, but they're still good trainers. You're just one teacher, 20 parents, 20 parents.
I did run through that, but
I can tell you the ones to go to that are successful. But again, you're not going to get that one-on-one. You're not, if your dog has any major issues, you're not going to get that. It's not what we do, but we do have friends that do it that are supportive. But I could say Toriano's in Chicago, not far from where you're at. His program works. He's one of Cesar Milan's trainers. And he holds classes for 20 people at a time. So I mean, that's the best I can do for training. You wanna break your dog in training? You let me know.
okay.
Anybody else have questions? Okay, then I've got questions for you guys. Like I mentioned, we're all volunteer. Does anybody here want to volunteer with us?
maybe if you got out of Salt Lake.
Well, here's the thing. We're not in Salt Lake because we don't have volunteers out there. We have property in Indiana because people in Indiana went to the city and went to the local businesses and said, hey, you own that building, it's been vacant for 3 years, why don't you donate? Or they pulled the list of city-owned properties and they've gone out to them and seen which ones aren't completely trashed that have been vacant for 5 years in lower income areas. They've approached the city council and gotten the ball rolling. We're all volunteer. I can't be everywhere at every time. People say go to Detroit, go to Little Havana down in Miami. There's property down there that's a dime a dozen. Can't be everywhere. It's my job to process in the dogs and to rebuild the properties. So I'm either swinging a hammer or getting stitches. That's pretty much my job. I will be the one to go out there and start the meetings with different city councils. One of our board members was excited as hell. He went out to Oregon and he started getting the ball rolling, and I got people that want to donate, I got people that want to donate land, and this is what you need to do. I go, when you get this done, I'll come out there. He says, okay, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Calls me up, it's taking a little longer, but it's going to happen, I'm sure of it. Next week I have a meeting with them. He goes, I don't know why, they were so excited to, but now they don't want to do it. That's why I'm not there. So, where are you from?
I'm in Wisconsin. I was actually going to ask where about in Wisconsin.
Black River Falls.
Oh, well,
Or it's Maryland.
That's
Yeah.
way north of us.
Where in Wisconsin are you?
About halfway between Milwaukee and Madison, north of Watertown.
Okay. I'll give you my info. We'll find a way to get you involved. Curious, what do you guys do for work?
I'm on disability, so I have a lot of things.
What'd you do before that, or?
Well, for a long time I worked in a pet store, and then after that, for a long time I worked for a large animal veterinarian.
Okay, cool.
So I've got a lot of experience in like the medical type things. I'm not a doctor or a vet tech or anything like that, but I've got some
Perfect.
knowledge.
I'll get you my info. It'll be in the next couple weeks. You'll fall behind sometimes, so feel free to help me. What do you do there?
This one was a John?
You're an officer.
No.
Someone who does, who might be at all interested or knows anyone who does, please just
By all
drop
means.
by and say hi to the guys.
Sorry, we get excited when we have this many people in it.
Where in Indiana?
Peru, right outside Grissom Air Force Base.
I
Miami
grew up
County.
in Northwest Indiana. I'm not sure like how far into the state that would be.
It is
Is that's to like the west side of the midline, right?
64 miles north, direct north of Indiana.
Okay.
I just drove it, that's why.
I was told we've got some people who head out.
Has it been an hour?
Like you to meet them.
Okay.
It's not quite an hour, but.
Hey, really quick before
if
we
there are any
leave.
more questions?
We're downstairs all weekend. The dog will be put away mostly in the evening because he gets tired. We definitely need IT people right now. People who can write code, SQL, Oracle, and I think those are the right terms, but I'm not positive. Please stop by, grab a card, grab a brochure. If you know anybody, pass on information. The program we're trying to set up is beyond our capabilities, but it's going to help thousands of canines get adopted out that normally wouldn't pass the adoption program. So please stop by. We're here, open to close.
Thank you guys so much for coming. So to let you know, there are a few more. I mean, aside from just come by, talk, meet the guys, meet the dogs, or I'll meet the dog if he's out feeling up to it. But otherwise, there's what else? I think you guys are going to be at the charity auction, the charity concert with Madia. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the concert.
I was gonna